So padding and margin I mentioned earlier, but just to reiterate, padding is the space from the content to the outside of the box. Okay, so basically this inside area is going to be your padding, and margin is the space from the box itself to the outside, to the next element, right? So it's the space between. So if we were going to look at these examples, you can see this is the HTML and CSS above. So I have two examples of margin here. And what you'll see is that this one, its margin is 5px, which means that the space between the outside of this box and the next element is going to be 5 pixels. Okay, so if you look between here and here, between this edge and this also includes the outside of the browser window, you'll see it's 5 pixels all the way around. Okay. Now the next one, this example, is 25 pixels. Okay. So if you look at the space here, it is 25 pixels across. Okay. So 25 between it and the next. All right. So you can see that this one's got more space around it. Now padding is sort of similar. If you look at here, this one is 5 pixels. But that is the distance between the content inside to the outside border box. Okay, so there's 5 pixels from between the top of this E to that, and the bottom of the E to the border. Okay, now you might notice, like, oh, well, there's a big padding here. There's not actually. The reason why it's like that is that by default, the width will always be the full stretch of the browser window. So it's going to go all the way across. The only reason why this one's not is because we added that margin. Okay. And notice that this one is more than the default. See, that 5 pixels is actually more than the default. The default must be like, I don't know, 2 or 3, probably 3 pixels. So that's why it's stretched all the way to the edge. If I were to take this browser window and squeeze it in, this border would get all the way, but it would never go past 5 pixels. It would get up to 5 pixels, and then it would only go that far. After that, it would just get, the browser window would go over top of it. Now, the bottom one here is 25 pixels, okay? So you can see the space between this and the border is much larger, okay? And that's the rough idea of it. So this is a good way of sort of giving your stuff more white space and more having more space for your gutters and such.